guys, love guys. Today we are going to watch the true reason why the F-22 Raptor can kill anything in the sky. And we have seen the F-15 video, and that plane, that jet was massive, and that was so fast. It can do all these things, and this thing I think so is much better version than that.
Much better, and this is F-22. That is much better version.
Yes, because it is 7 numbers ahead. That is your calculation. That is the most calculation that you can do. That F-15, so F-22 might be better only.
Common sense. You know the difference between iPhone 6 and iPhone 15? So iPhone 15 is much better, okay?
What is this logic? Yes, this F-22 Raptor also feels very fast because, you know, the twin jets that we are seeing in the thumbnail, it is very, very fast. And we are just amazed by the power or the amount of power like America has in the air, in the water.
F-15 can also carry the weapons.
It can, of course. That is why it is the most dangerous thing, and it can kill anything in the sky. So we will see more about it in this video. So let's start the
video.
The true reason why the F-22 Raptor can kill anything in the sky.
Oh wow. You know, it moves like a
Russia
toy.
and China deploying advanced new fighters and surface-to-air missiles, the task of gaining and maintaining air superiority over an increasingly more lethal battle space falls to a small and elite group of U.S. Air Force pilots flying the mighty Lockheed Martin F-22 Raptor.
Wow.
Conceived during the waning years of the Cold War, the stealthy, high-flying, supersonically cruising Raptor was designed to defeat the most fearsome weapons the Soviet Union could hurl at the United States and NATO during a Third World War in Europe. However, with the end of the Cold War and subsequent 1991 collapse of the Soviet Union, the F-22 was left without a mission, or so it was thought. Indeed, the second Bush and Obama administrations canceled the F-22 program in 2008 after only 195 aircraft, 187 production planes were ordered because they made the assumption that high-end, state-on-state conflicts were a relic of the past. However, as it's becoming increasingly apparent, they were wrong.
World War III might come.
Why America needs the F-22 Raptor, now more than ever. Now, with voices on the left and right clamoring for action in Syria, where the Kremlin is propping up its longtime ally, the Assad regime, the Pentagon finds that it has to rely on its tiny fleet of 186 F-22 Raptors if
186 is not tiny.
A no-fly zone or a safe zone in that war-torn nation.
That is too much.
The Raptor is the only operational combat aircraft that the United States operates that Washington can rely on to take on and defeat advanced air defenses such as the Panzer S-1, S-300V4, and S-400 that Moscow has dispatched to Syria.
Oh, even India has S-400.
The only aircraft in the U.S. Air Force inventory that possesses a huge performance overmatch against late-generation Russian fighters such as the Su-30SM Flanker H and the Su-35S Flanker E, both of which the Kremlin has also deployed to the region. Our role is to kick down the door. First Fighter Wing Commander Colonel Pete Fessler, a veteran F-22 Raptor pilot, told me during a visit to Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, we are, without a doubt, on the leading edge of whatever force you're going to send because we have an airplane that has a capability that no one else has.
How can a jet do that? Just look.
Training matters.
Just like this.
But while it's important to have the right tools, more important is the human dimension. Pilots and maintainers must be trained and ready to defeat the highest end threats if they're to be sent into combat. The Raptor pilots, while they're still a critical component, are still just one part of the team. Nothing's going to happen unless the maintainers can get the airplanes running. The low observable maintainers can keep the skin healthy, the munitions guys can build the bombs and missiles, and the weapons loaders can get them on the airplane. The air traffic controllers can launch them, intel folks can prep the pilots for the mission they're going to do. All those things have to come together, and if they get out of sync, none of it works.
From inside it is very different, no?
The ultimate insurance policy. In many ways, the Raptor is the U.S. Air Force's insurance policy. While the rest of the Air Force has been preparing for and fighting low-intensity warfare scenarios, as an elite vanguard force, the Raptor fleet has focused almost exclusively on defeating the highest end threats. We've been focused on the high-end threat all along, Fessler said. In fact, the departure from standard for us is the times we go over to Operation Inherent Resolve, the counter-ISIS campaign, and do the close air support type missions over there. Low-intensity conflict is not our bread and butter.
It's looking like it's a
Even
fish
since
or
the
a whale
earliest
in a
days when the
water.
Raptor
Yes.
began operational testing in 2002,
So easy to
the
maneuver it.
F-22 has performed incredibly well in simulated combat, amassing lopsided victories in the air, even when flying against the most challenging simulated threats. Advanced Russian fighters such as the Su-35 and the S-300V4 and S-400, it's exceedingly rare for the F-22 to be shot down. Losses in the F-22 are a rarity regardless of the threat we're training against, Fessler said.
Oh.
Why the Raptor dominates.
It's the best.
Indeed, one of the problems for the F-22 is to generate enough targets and a tough enough threat so that pilots get some useful training. Another problem is that the jet is so capable in terms of its sheer speed, acceleration, stealth, sensors, and maneuverability, it actually compensates for tactical errors. It makes up for a lot of shortcomings in the pilot side. You can have a really bad day and the airplane will still do phenomenally well, said
Wow,
one senior
that is a
F-22
big
pilot
thing.
who goes by the call sign Crash. Just because you win the fight doesn't mean you did well. Just because you lost doesn't mean you screwed up.
It
We
is the
built
plane.
scenarios to track that. So there are times when guys will die in training when they did everything right. And there's other times dudes are screwing up left and right and they're completely successful. But in this airplane, it's much easier to survive. Because the jet is so capable and the pilots are the elite of the elite, the Red Air has to effectively overwhelm the Raptors with sheer numbers. Crash described one scenario where 4 F-22s took on 10 fourth-gen enemy aircraft similar to a Su-35 simultaneously, and which regenerate or come back to life. A little bit more than your typical fourth-gen, Crash said. We're not training against things that are not operational yet. We're fighting against the most advanced operational threats we can. Typically, the blue F-22s will slaughter the enemy from long range. Indeed, as Fessler notes, if an enemy aircraft has survived to enter the merge or visual range combat and finds a Raptor, something has gone terribly wrong. That usually leads to an intensive debrief to understand what went wrong. Indeed, all of the pilots I spoke to unanimously told me that the debrief is the most important part of a training sortie. Nonetheless, F-22 pilots train extensively for a visual range fight. We usually train full up versus full up, Crash said. We assume that a Western-trained F-22 is going to be the most challenging threat we're going to go against.
Wow. And we saw how hard those trainings are, like in Top Gun.
A big upgrade, and something needed.
Oi.
Oh, this is different.
One recent addition
It's
to
the
the
same.
Raptors at Langley is the new
It's the
Block
same.
3.2a Update 5
It's not that
software.
edgy.
At long last, the new upgrade adds the Raytheon AIM-9X Sidewinder high-off boresight missile, something long coveted by the F-22 community. The addition of the AIM-9X is a huge improvement for the Raptor. The addition of the new weapon greatly increases the F-22's already formidable lethality. That's even though Upgrade 5 is an interim capability. The AIM-9X and the Raytheon AIM-12OD AMRAAM missiles will be fully integrated onto the Raptor with the Increment 3.2B upgrade.
Now they can carry
which is
even
yet
more
to be
bigger
built.
missiles.
The one thing that the F-22 is still lacking is a helmet-mounted queuing system, HMCS.
Or
That
leave
will be
something.
used to exploit the outer edges of the AIM-9X's capabilities. It's a feature that's common on most U.S. fighter aircraft and most foreign ones. The lack of such a system would normally place the Raptor at a severe disadvantage in a dogfight if the aircraft didn't perform as well as it does. The Air Force is still planning on adding such a helmet-mounted queuing system to the F-22, but pilots at the 1st Fighter Wing say that's not an absolute necessity. The Raptor can usually dominate a fight even without such a system.
Wow.
Indeed, as
So
Fessler
strong.
noted, even without the AIM-9X or a HMCS, F-22 pilots often close into gun range and ambush other jets in visual range. I can sneak up on a guy, Fessler said. In the F-22, I convert on guys, and they never even see you there. You go
Wow.
up right behind them and go, Why waste a missile when you have a gun? Ultimately, as the U.S. Air Force's only dedicated fifth-generation air superiority fighter in an increasingly hostile world where the threat grows more challenging every day, it's in the service's best interest to ensure the Raptor remains as capable as possible.
Actually,
Right now, the Air Force is slated to equip the F-22 with a helmet-mounted sight by 2020.
Wait,
But similar
it
efforts
felt
have
like it was
fallen
falling
through with budget
down.
cuts in the past. The helmet would be awesome to have, but it's not a game changer for us, Crash said.
It is scary.
Helmet-mounted sight would help us a lot.
Totally scary.
I can surely say that this is the most lethal fighter jet I've ever seen because of the power it has, because of the maneuverability, and I think so it was very costly. That is why US military opted out of making more, but now I think so they would be making more because it needs to be. It is like they were saying that they have 190 of them and this is a tiny fleet for them. Like having about 19 or 10 of them would be very happy for India.
For me,
or
I
any other
guess
country, I would say.
pilots, I would like to salute the pilots because it is very pressurizing to take that jet upwards and managing all things. And it's not about only jet, but also about the pilots. I guess
It is the gravitational force that they face. It's
They
about
are-
4 to 5 times, or even
they are
5,
going
7 times.
opposite of the gravity.
Yeah, and many times they do this and that is very hard on them.
This
But
is risky.
they are very, very good because of that, and we have seen how intense it is inside the cockpit, and they are able to maneuver everything out of it. And also, we saw in this video that there were about 6 of them, and they could even easily fight 20 of the other opponents. So
That
that's
is, I think, the core speciality.
and I need to know, do they even sell these to other countries or do they keep them with them? Because I think so America
they are
always
made in America, so I think
no, America always sells the next generation that they are not using, that kind of weapons, not the generation that they are using, because that will just increase the competition. So what do you guys think about it? Do let us know in the comment section below. So do like, share, and
subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.